Alan Resnick got his personal YouTube page like nuked, gone over an unlisted video.
Really?
So he had a few interesting things on his own personal YouTube page, just like little shorts, little ideas, little weird things. He's like a creative guy. He does a lot of like 3D modeling, weird stuff. Like, I don't know. I'm a fan. I like what he does, but he just like his channel was just gone. And when he like asked YouTube about it, they said it violated YouTube's like sexuality/nudity policy. Which with Alan Resnick, it's probably, he's like similar to like Conor O'Malley, where it's probably just like, it's not like pornography or like sex. It's probably like a weird guy naked covered in stuff. Yeah. Like it's probably, but like he like was tagging Team YouTube on Twitter, like back and forth, and they were like, yeah, I'm sorry, we manually watched your video and we're upholding our decision. His entire channel is gone. And this is for an unlisted video. So it's like you would have had to have the specific link to view it anyway. It's not something you could have just found on his channel. And it's so depressing because like we were talking last week about your like just blooper reel video from over a decade ago.
I was waiting for you to finish because I have an addendum to this actually.
Oh, is it back? Did they restore it?
No, no, they did it again. Now I shouldn't say that quite. They didn't like remove it completely, but I got within 20 minutes of each other. I got 2 more videos were like age restricted. And it's like, yeah, like definitely they should be age restricted. But like, it's weird that it's coming on the heels of the other one getting removed.
YouTube must be doing something. They must be doing some sort of sweep. Like they have some sort of new program that just catches bad words and just automatically, because like that
they're both unlisted videos too, which is weird too. They're not private, but they're unlisted.
Which ones?
So they're ones that like I haven't even shared because they were essentially private ones. It's just sometimes I unlist videos because it's easier than privating. One was it's for Travis's 30th birthday. We made him a diss album, like a 5-track like diss album.
Okay.
So the whole thing is like songs like dissing him. So yeah, we're gonna curse and say a bunch of like
just mean shit.
Yeah. I haven't listened to it in a while, but I mean it's more recent than like I'm like at that point. Like, back when I did, like, Cubed, the one that got removed, I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we did say something a little raunchy. But I'm like, I don't think we said anything bad in the diss album thing. And then the other one is literally just an outtake of Dagan, like, recording. I don't even know what it was for. I mean, it was for a song that we were doing, I'm sure, but I don't remember the song. But it's literally just like him with the headphones on, so it's just him talking a cappella, basically, just saying like rapping about how he has a big dick, like just over and over again.
Yeah, that's just like that's kind of the thing that bums me out about all of this is like I just feel like YouTube as a platform is now just like, well, this isn't advertiser-friendly content.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, cool. This is your advertiser-friendly platform for babies.
Yeah.
Is what it's essentially turning into. Like, I'm not trying to be like they're shadow banning us or like they're censoring us kind of guy, but it's just like there's really there's no room for any sort of like edginess or comedy like whatsoever. Like I don't know, it's crazy. And it's like there isn't really an alternative. There isn't really like another place to go. YouTube is just like ubiquitous. This is the video sharing apps.
I know. Yeah,
and it's just like, okay, well, guess we gotta play by your rules. And it's like, you know, it's one thing if we're just, you know, podcasters with like 262 followers. Like if one of our videos got demonetized, it's like, well, we're not even monetized to begin with. So it's like, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
But a lot of people.
That's why it's like we're not monetized. Nobody's watching. Like, just fucking lay off. Like that's what I want to say. It's like nobody cares about our stuff, so you shouldn't care either.
Yeah, because I know like bigger accounts. I think like even like Red Letter Media, they have a Patreon, and I'm pretty sure that's just how they fund everything. Because I've noticed in their videos in the first 10 or 15 minutes or so, they bleep all of their swears.
Oh,
and I think because that's part of YouTube's like sweeping algorithm is if it detects any sort of bad language in the first 10 minutes, demonetized. But they'll also just like demonetize you for anything. They're just constantly changing like rules and community standards and bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really have a solution. It's just horseshit.
Yeah.
And it's just,
We need to move to
Rumble.
Yeah, Rumble. That's it. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's the solution.
Dude, because like I haven't been plugged into any of like the presidential debates, or I wasn't even really plugged in, because usually if it's like election season, I kind of like to watch the debates sometimes, but this is like all Republican debates and Trump wasn't even there, so like there was no entertaining value whatsoever.
Right.
But I was like, one of them was happening and I'm like, oh, I'm kind of curious to see just at all what any of these debates are like. And I think the only platform I could watch them on was Rumble. And so I went to Rumble and I watched it, and good God, the chat in that video was like, oh, maybe people are kind of onto something about like just like Rumble being just like a racist cesspool, because it was just it was like I just kept seeing like JQ question mark like Jewish question, like all sorts of comments were just like I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God. So I was like, oh, cool. Like if this is just reaffirming like everything I've believed. Just like, maybe you are all terrible people. Yeah, I guess so. So yeah, we're going to switch over to Rumble.
Speaking of sinister practices.
Yeah.
Welcome back to ThereWillBeDuds, ladies and gents. This is episode 144, and I'm your co-host TJ, and with me as always, I am Nick. And as always, we watched a movie this week. This is our first, almost second. I mean, it feels like second because we end each month with a dud, but this is our first of our dud month proper. So we'll be here all month. And the first of the month of duds that we got is the Sinister Squad from 2016, directed by Jeremy M. Inman. It is an Asylum film, which if you're not familiar with them, they kind of made their bread and butter off of doing they call them mockbusters, where like, you know, the Transformers movies, when those first came out, they made Transmorphers. I'm pretty sure they did I Am Omega, which was like I Am Legend. I think that was them. They also have an Avengers kind of spin-off thing, Avengers Grimm, which we'll get into.
Yeah. They did Titanic too.
Oh, they did Titanic too. I don't think I knew that. Interesting. Okay. But anyways, this one is their riff on Suicide Squad from 2016, the first one.
Yes.
So it's about some criminals, I guess, some villains who are kind of enlisted by the good guys, I guess, to face off against death, like literally like death himself and his minions. But instead of comic book villains, they are like kind of Grimm's or fairy tale villains, like there's Rumpelstiltskin, Bluebeard. I can't think of the other ones. The wolf, Big Bad Wolf. So yeah, that's what it is. It's also very. I've found it also was very similar. I would say even more so than because I made a joke that's like, oh, it's very like Once Upon a Time, like that ABC show, but it's almost more so like this old comic series called Fables, because that one's like it's like it's like fairy tale characters in the real world, kind of like Once Upon a Time, but they're like detectives. The main characters are Snow White and the Big Bad Wolf, and the Big Bad Wolf kind of has a similar sort of vibe to how he is in this. And I don't know, I found there to be some interesting kind of similarities to that.
Yeah, it's not. I guess it's not. It's not like on tread territory. Like, I feel like this idea of like, what if we take the fairy tale characters that you know and love and make them gritty and edgy? Because I think, you know, there is a certain darkness to a lot of those fairy tales, like the, you know, the Grimm's fairy tales, like usually sort of like I don't know, like fables, like Aesop's fables. You know, there's like some sort of morality at the end of them that is usually like pretty morbid. And so, you know, it's like everyone's used to like, you know, the Goldilocks and the Three Bears and the Big Bad Wolf and, you know, like the Disney cartoons or maybe it wasn't Disney. Maybe it was like the Bugs Bunny, whatever company that was. Like, I think they put them out too. Hanna-Barbera, maybe. So it's like, yeah, there are those cartoon versions, and then this is. I wonder if all of these characters are probably also public domain because.
I'm sure, yeah.
Because like, who has copyright on Rumpelstiltskin?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm sure people were clamoring like they are with like Winnie the Pooh. They're like, oh, Rumpelstiltskin is in the public domain. Yes, finally.
Rumpelstiltskin is one of like the main cast members in Once Upon a Time, and I think like a fan favorite. So I'm sure they were inspired by that to like make him the lead.
What is Rumpelstiltskin's power? Because I don't know what it is from this movie. He's like a smooth talker. He can make them do whatever. I am not caught up on all. I'm not caught up on like the fairy tales. I didn't know who Bluebeard was. I had to Google that.
I see. That was one of the things I thought reminded me of Fables, because I literally only know of Bluebeard because of Fables. So I thought it was interesting that he was one of the villains when, like, to me, I think he's a pretty obscure fairy tale villain, since I only know of him from another thing that's about fairy tale characters.
But I
guess
that's kind of the thing with Suicide Squad, is like a lot of the villains are
obscure.
Kind of obscure. I mean, especially with like the Suicide Squad, I'm thinking like Polka Dot Man, who like I was surprised to find out was a real character, you know?
Yeah, I think they all are. There's like Weasel, Nathan Fillion's the detachable kid. They're all like just ridiculous joke characters. Yeah. Yeah, from what I remember, I don't know like if Bluebeard has any powers in the fairy tale that he's from, but he's basically just like, he's like a guy who has had a bunch of wives and murdered all of them. So he's like a serial like spousal murderer, I guess. Rumpelstiltskin, I'm like, I don't know if he really had any. I think he did. I don't know. I only like vaguely know his story because he's like, he sits at a loom or whatever and spins a thread and some little.
Is it you're
thing.
Supposed to like guess his name or something like that?
Maybe. I'm not sure. I mean, either way, I don't think it's, you know, I don't think it really correlates to, to
this.
They
definitely
to
take some liberties with.
Yeah, I mean, I would That's a word, yeah, for liberties.
Yeah, it says the story is about an imp who spins straw into gold in exchange for a woman's firstborn child.
Oh, and then
And then I think the whole thing is that, like, I think his thing is like, well, if you can guess my name, I'll give you your child back. And she
maybe that sounds right. Yeah.
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 Like you guess his name, but because like in this movie, I think talking is his power because they do like the Hannibal Lecter thing where like they put the guard over his face so he can't like make a deal, I guess.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm struggling to remember anything that happened in this.
Yeah, I think that is that like he can basically like he can command people to do whatever he wants, but he has to like, verbalize, he has to say it. Which is like exactly what the Queen of Hearts can do to men. Like that's what she did. But he only really does it once. No, he does it twice. Because he does it like at the very beginning, Rumpelstiltskin, and then at the very end to Alice when he like tells her to blow him up or whatever.
Right.
So it's funny that like they have him like gagged for a good chunk of the movie, but then like you expect like as soon as they take it off, he's gonna start like throwing that at the bad guys like a bunch. But he's really reserved with it.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Queen of Hearts. I feel like she does her mind control thingy or whatever like once too, and it's literally just like to show that they have powers, I guess.
Yeah.
Really use it.
This is. I know this is going to come as a shock to the listeners, but this is like such an uneven movie that we spend so much time with characters, then we cut back. And I'm like, oh yeah, this guy's in this, and like most of these characters really have like nothing to do with they don't have anything to do. Like especially like the big bad wolf. He's like one of the most pointless characters in this entire thing. Although the movie didn't really get a lot of laughs out of me, but the subtitles did, because there was a scene where the big bad wolf was like, he was fighting someone or something, and he was breathing heavily, but the captions said huffing/puffing. And I thought that was a nice touch. I was like, okay, someone in the captions is having fun with it. Like, that's funny. Or like in the captions, like, because usually they'll put like the name of the character who's talking, and some of them said Rumpy instead of Rumpelstiltskin. So it's like, oh, okay, the captions guy's having a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
I did take a decent amount of notes though, which I'm kind of surprised. I have to like remind myself what these are. I just wrote SFX boink. So like immediately I'm like turned off by this movie by Rumpelstiltskin. Like every time his eyes dart back and forth, or he smiles, or he crooks his head, there's like just really annoying sound effects that play every single time.
I don't know whose fucking idea that was.
Blink twice if you've understood me. And blink twice if we have a deal.
What dud did we watch that had that? Was it Quigley? Was it Love on a Leash? I feel like there was some movie, or no, you know what? I think it was one of those like Wednesday night stream movies that we watched.
Oh, okay.
Maybe that one about the coffee shop. I think that's what it was. Do you remember that one?
You mean the coffee shop?
Is that what
I'm pretty sure.
Where, it was like the gay coffee shop, and like every character was like in some sort of like gay relationship. But I feel like there were like these pseudo like Saw style edits in that movie, and I feel like everything had a sort of like boink, whoosh, boing, like sound effect associated with it. So just right off the bat, I'm like turned off by this movie. I'm like, I don't want to deal with this for an hour and a half.
Yeah, that was such a bizarre thing for them to do. Because for the most part, the rest of it I felt like had, you could say at least it had the same tone, but then the sound effects just felt so out of place.
Yeah,
Everything else had
they
the
just
same
stopped.
kind of like, yeah. And it's not like the movie otherwise was like completely 100% serious. There was like kind of, you know, like normal little like kind of action movie jokes here and there, but the special effects were so just beyond like the what little like comedy there was in it or whatever.
Yeah, all of the jokes were essentially like references to whatever story each character was from.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Oh, now you're through the looking glass.
Yeah. That was the name of the facility,
The compound
or whatever. Yeah.
Which I was also like, damn, okay, this movie is taking place entirely here. Awesome.
Yeah, I didn't know that was what it was going to be like going into it. But I actually like going on. There was a shot in particular that made me think this, where like I feel like that's like a shot down a hallway and you can like see the end of the set, or there's some like shit piled up at the end of the hallway. So I wrote down that this is like if After Last Season was shot and lit like competently, but it looks like this is like same location pretty much as the Pro-Rollis Corporation or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think they essentially did exactly what I said they should have done with last season, was shoot everything like kind of medium to close up to kind of
exactly.
fake the fact that they're on like a set, like a you know, a not terrible set, but like a set nonetheless. It's like that's how you kind of cheese that shit. Whereas, you know, after last season, it's just like they shoot everything wide as hell and you just see everything.
See everything, yeah.
I also noticed at the beginning, so it's like he's like addicted to some sort of drug. Is it like there was
some
the broken mirror?
Totally sure.
Is that what he was?
Oh,
was he just
maybe that's
huffing
what it was
broken
supposed
mirror
to be.
dust?
Funny.
But like that scene at the beginning, I was like, oh, this is like The Room. Because it's like, he's like, where is it? And he's like, it's nearby. It's just like, I was just like, where are the fucking drugs, Denny? They're coming. Don't worry. They're going to be here.
Yeah. With the Piper, who I'm assuming is supposed to be the Pied Piper, but they like didn't. They really didn't. I'm guessing that's the only Piper I could think of.
No.
But they like really didn't even.
What?
I feel like Rumpelstiltskin is the one who's like closest to his fairy tale counterpart, or I guess the big bad wolf, I guess, because he's kind of like a wolf man person.
Yeah.
But like the Pied Piper was just like a guy. Goldilocks, even, she was just a girl. Like they didn't do one single like, you know, she picks up like I thought it'd have been perfect, like when she's like fighting Bluebeard, she picks up one of his knives and she's like, no, too small, picks up another one, too big.
I think they
just
tried
right,
to make
and then
a joke.
Oh, did they? Maybe,
And near the end, but she gets cut off.
Oh, okay.
Because I think, I think near the end, like the big bad wolf jumps in the way of the knife and he kind of gets hit.
Yeah.
And then she's like pissed. And so I think she pulls the knife out of him. And then I feel like she says something like, this one's just, and then something happens, she gets hit or whatever.
Oh.
But I don't think she finishes her sentence, but I think she was about
that.
to say just right.
Okay. Well.
Which I think
weird
is,
that they decided to be subtle for once. Yes.
Yeah, because I was like, I think that was the first attempt at like doing a reference to something from like her original story, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
So I was also the whole time trying to figure out who are the analogs to like Suicide Squad, because I feel like Rumpelstiltskin
is the Joker.
Yeah.
So then the Queen of Hearts is Harley.
I guess. Yeah. Because there's like a romance with like the witch and death, and I feel like the witch was like a more closer like Harley, because she was a little more like.
No, because
like
the witch is there's literally a witch in Suicide Squad.
Was that Cara Delevingne in that?
Yeah, the Enchantress is what she's called.
Oh.
And she's caught you know, she's at the prison with them or whatever, and she's supposed to be on the Suicide Squad, but then she like breaks out and she's like kind of the main villain, and then she's trying to like revive her brother who's like the weird golem
that's
guy.
Right. Oh, okay.
So and that's like literally what the witch is, like what she does in this. So
I hated the witch. It makes me cringe. It is a trope that I see in like creature and monster movies that I feel like is so played out whenever the monster or the creature or the ghost or whatever does the head tilt thing. I hate it more. It makes me so uncomfortable. I don't know why. I hate the way it looks. It's so overacty. Like and like that is her character entirely. Like it's like her directions were like open your mouth and eyes as wide as humanly possible, and just constantly be like, "Oh, aren't I so creepy? Because I'm jittering. You know, and it's like it works for stuff like The Evil Dead when like Linda, like I'm thinking of that shot of like Linda sitting on the ground with like the contacts in her eyes, and she's like looking up, smiling, kind of following Ash or whoever it is. I'm like, okay. That I get that. That's creepy. That's you know appropriate for the scene, but just like whenever there's a creature movie, and it's just like they're trying to convey how wild and unpredictable and creepy the creature is, they do that, and I hate it.
That's fun. Yeah, I mean, I didn't. Her teeth bothered me. It was weird. There was a part
it was sort of an uncanny valley thing too, like
maybe that's it. Yeah, I don't know. They just I don't know. They looked uncomfortable. There was a part where she kind of tilts her head down and she's talking, and you can see her actual teeth like inside the denture.
I missed that. That's amazing. The budget for fake teeth in this movie must have been wild, because I think nearly every character has some sort of fake, like I think the Rumpelstiltskin is like a drug addict, so his teeth are just covered
Orange
in shit
or something. Yeah, maybe it was gold dust. I don't know.
Oh, and then Bluebeard has like a gold tooth.
Yeah.
Big Bad Wolf has like prosthetic fangs.
Yeah.
And then the witch has like those teeth. So it's like half the characters in this have some sort of like prosthetic teeth going on.
Did the Hatter have weird teeth? Because I knew he had like glitter and stuff on his face or whatever.
I don't think he had any weird teeth.
Oh, okay.
Another character that I absolutely did not like was the Mad Hatter. He
made me so uncomfortable. I thought he was like, not that this would naturally make me uncomfortable, but I thought he was like deaf the first couple scenes he was on, and I was like, is he like acting deaf? Because that'd be weird.
Do you think you can do that for me?
Yes. I fancy a tumble down little rabbit hole deal.
But then as it went on, I'm like, oh, I guess he's not. But I don't know. He was so weirdly performed.
It's
and you know maybe that's partly intentional because he's the Hatter and he's kind of crazy. But
it reminded me of like a high schooler's idea of what being high would be like.
Sure, yeah.
So it's just like, oh, I'd be, you know.
Yeah.
Like the Ungrateful Dead, when my character smokes weed and I'm just like,
yeah, exactly.
I'm high instantly and I'm just, you know, it's like, but it's like, yeah, I was a dumb high schooler. So like, that's fine.
Yeah.
This is a movie made by adults.
Yeah. Another, thing, which is, I don't know, it's funny because this is like clearly a riff on Suicide Squad. Obviously, it's not like they even like try to hide that fact. But did you notice that like they they also rip a scene like straight from the first Guardians of the Galaxy. It's the scene where there's like, it's Goldilocks and maybe Alice behind the glass, and it's basically like the lineup. Like they're like, all right, who's this one? This is Rumpelstiltskin, and he's like this, and blah blah blah, and then this is Bluebeard. That's like that's like a pretty like famous scene from the first Guardians where it's, you know, the Guardians all lined up, and I think it's like Peter Serafinowicz and maybe John C. Reilly are like behind the glass, and they're like, you know, this is Rocket Raccoon. He's a cybernetic, blah, 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 blah.
Oh. I've only seen Guardians once, and it was probably like 10 years ago, so I don't remember that, but that's probably exactly what they're doing. Because I know in like Suicide Squad, that was like sort of like the first like half of that movie was like character introductions, basically. Character introductions and backstory. So I was kind of surprised when they didn't really do that for this one.
Yeah.
But it's probably because they just ripped off Guardians of the Galaxy instead.
Well, like legitimately, ways into the movie, I was like, no joke, I'm like, this is more coherent than Suicide Squad. I think this is like no cap, like a better movie than Suicide Squad. It's more, to me, it's more watchable. Because it's not like you do have those annoying sound effects with Rumpelstiltskin, sure. But other than that, like I just kept comparing it to Suicide Squad, and like, sure, that doesn't have those kind of sound effects, but everything else about the editing in that is so fucking obnoxious. Yeah. And the pacing is terrible. And like, it wasn't great in this, but it was better. You didn't get like the 20 minutes of character introductions and then 20 more minutes of the same characters being introduced, and you kind of got right into it. And then with the analogs, Rumpelstiltskin was like, performance wise, I thought he was fine. I thought he was kind of fun, and he's not Jared Leto's Joker, who is like fucking painful to watch on screen.
I think I blocked it out of my memory.
He's fucking awful watching it. Like it's tremendously bad watching Jared Leto's Joker in that movie. And this, he's just like, he's corny. Everybody's corny. He's hamming it up. It's not like a great performance, but it's not that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's like, this is like the lowest stakes version. It's funny that this is the lowest stakes version of that movie, because the OG Suicide Squad, wasn't that like it changed writers and directors like a handful of times, and like that's why the editing and like direction is so weird, is that like Zack Snyder took it over or they took it away from him or something like that, and like
no, it was David Ayer, and it was like right. They originally made it, and it was like going to be kind of serious and gritty, more like the Zack Snyder stuff. And then, and you can see it with like, I'm sure they're still up there. If you watch like, Suicide Squad trailer 1, it's like really serious, and that look, the Zack Snyder look or whatever. And then like between that and the second trailer was when Guardians like really blew up or something like that. So then like the next trailer, that's the one with like Bohemian Rhapsody, and it's all super colorful, and so they did do like a bunch of like reshoots and re-edits to like make it more fun and funny, quote unquote. I'm pretty sure the Joker wasn't even in the original one, or if he was, it was like basically just at the very end or something.
Right.
I could be wrong about that, but I think he definitely had a reduced role in the original version.
Yeah, because I feel like I remember hearing that when it came out, that there was like Jared Leto shot a bunch of stuff, and he was like disappointed that a lot of it like didn't get used. Which, yeah, I don't need the Ayer cut.
Yeah, no fucking thank you.
I think though, yeah, I would agree that it is like more coherent and better paced than Suicide Squad. But I think you could have done a little bit of character introductions, just to get out of the same location for the entire movie.
I mean,
like,
yeah.
You could have easily, like, you know, shown how each character got pulled from their respective story. Like,
And
you
not
could
just
have had,
Rumpelstiltskin, yeah.
yeah, you could have had the big bad wolf, like, you know, yeah, we caught this guy. He was in some grandma's clothes, and he thought that he could fool us, but we knew it was him. And, you know, he's just like, I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll, you know, or I don't know Bluebeard's backstory at all, but it's like, you know, you could have done Tweedledee and Tweedledum, you know, or like shown any of like the Alice in Wonderland kind of shit, just to give us a little bit of a break from the same location the entire time. Yeah.
I mean, I say that it's better than that one, but that is a very low bar to clear in my eyes.
Yes.
So yeah, it's still like not a great movie by any means, but like, and you know, if I didn't have that to compare it to constantly, maybe I would have like hated this more. But really, I was just like, I kept thinking of that movie and like, wow, this is not as bad as that, not as bad as that. So I like ultimately like it ended up, and I was like, all right, you know. I even liked, I kind of liked the death actor. Like, he was kind of fun. I liked how, like,
he was extremely hammy.
You gotta admit, it's pretty funny how things work out sometimes, huh?
Am I right? Even killing the only woman who ever really loved you. You're a real scum. I mean, I gotta respect that.
I mean, like, everybody knows the movie that they're in this one. Where, like, that's another thing with Suicide Squad, is it feels like every actor was, like, in a different movie. Like, some of them were taking it seriously, some of them weren't. But this, everybody knows they're in the Suicide Squad ripoff movie. Some of them are still, like, annoying. Like, to me, I think the most annoying was Alice. I didn't like her fake ass British Roger Cunningham voice.
Yeah,
she was probably my least favorite part. And then there's one location. Also, like, having the little introductions would be nice, because there was bits in the middle that felt like they repeated or like dragged too long. Like, for how like quick the movie is and everything, I felt like there were some scenes that just like grinded everything to a halt. Like the scene where, I feel like they do it like 2 times, where Rumpelstiltskin goes and finds the Queen of Hearts. Maybe I'm just thinking of like when he like first sees her and he gets her to wear like the wrist watch thingy, and then he goes and finds her and gets the little, you know, the vial of dust or whatever from her, and then he kills her. And those felt like they took so fucking long to get to the point. Yeah,
they did. Where it's like, hey guys, the dialogue is not the point of this. Like,
yeah.
That's not really the thing that you're here to highlight, because it's not that great.
Yeah. And speaking of the wristwatch things, I feel like I may have just missed something, because I feel like a lot of times, like, how the information was doled out in this is like they would address something with one sentence. So if you weren't paying attention there,
yes,
but like they don't give any like weight to any sentence over another. So you'd be watching a scene and they'd be just talking about like some bullshit, and then they would probably drop like one line that's very important, but I would not like register it that way. So maybe they said something about it. Yeah. But I feel like she just like put the little wristwatch thing on him, and like I feel like there wasn't really an explanation of like what that was or what it did. But knowing Suicide Squad, you're like, oh, okay, I know what that is. It's like, because in that they like plant the bombs in their necks, and that's how they get them to do the thing for them. But in this, they're just like, aha, you're wearing a wristwatch now. He's like, I hate knowing the time. Or, you know.
Yeah, I think there was some line between him and Alice where I think she had a vial of the
his
PCP that he wants so bad.
Yeah.
And I think there was a line where she's basically like, if you do this for me, like if you defeat death, I'm not entirely sure like what exactly she was asking of him to do. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this movie is not a good movie to watch if you say have another monitor with other tabs open and you're scrolling on those while you're watching the movie on Tubi. Gotta say, not the suboptimal way to watch it. Also, like, why were they the only two that had the? I thought, like, because like that's the whole thing is like everyone. That's like part of the agreement. Like, if you're gonna rip it off, rip it off. Because I think that made it a little more incoherent. Where like some of the villains like weren't wearing them, and some of them were. Like every time we cut to the big bad wolf, I'm like, what are you doing here? What is the point of? Like, obviously, it's like to be the romantic interest with Piper. I'm so mad that she's supposed to be the Pied Piper. Goldilocks. Piper's the dude.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. Goldilocks, her. Yeah.
Yeah.
That his entire character arc was to just like be the romantic interest for her.
Yeah. Weird. So bizarre.
You're either with us or not. I'm hoping these ensure the former. Picked them up in Wonderland, although I fear I don't recall how. Quite explosive. My little insurance policy.
The other stuff that I missed was like, why, but why not? Like, why did Bluebeard, like, he turned and he was like fighting them. He was like against them. I never felt like he really was on their side, but they were acting like he was, one of the, the Sinister Squad or whatever. But like, he was always trying to kill like Goldilocks in particular. And that was another thing where I feel like it was like a one-line thing where Death was like, hey, work for me instead. And he was like, okay. And but I don't know.
Yeah. Did the Queen of Hearts say something to him?
Maybe.
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Because I know there was that line early when they're going around kind of capturing all of them, where him and Goldilocks kind of get into a fight. And then basically he's like, I always, every woman that I've killed with the knife, like, these are my wives. And I thought there was some sort of like, oh, you're another woman. I need to add you to my collection. So I thought there was like a sort of, vendetta or something. Cause he's just like,
there was, but I mean, like, it was implying that, like, sure, he had that. They're all villains, right? They all have their own motives.
But his allegiance later on is not really like clearly defined, like why he's
exactly
like, oh, I'm gonna do what Death told me to do. Yeah. I don't remember any sort of scene like that where like it's sort of established which like who he's gonna be, allegiant to or whatever.
I also thought he looked like, I don't know if you might just have to look it up. I thought the whole time I thought he looked like The Weeknd from the Dawn FM album,
where he looks old.
Yeah.
yeah. Same hairstyle, beard combo with like the gray. A lot of gray hair. I thought Rumpelstiltskin kind of had the look of like the sort of gray hair.
Yeah.
That I did in the original Postmortem when I'm like the survivalist guy.
Yeah.
Like that same level of like, that's clearly like gray paint or it's a makeup effect. Clearly.
Yeah. And then the Queen of Hearts for some reason had gray hair in hell for like that last shot or whatever.
I guess she did.
For some reason. That was the other thing, like it was really hard to kind of understand the main like conflict. Like they were like the witch escaped. Okay. She's crazy, she's kind of unhinged. She's in love with Death. So she was like killing people, or she was doing like some magic to like bring Death to Earth or something. Yeah. But then they kept calling like the faceless like gunmen the Death's messengers, were they just people that like she possessed? Because then they would like die. They would get killed, and then they'd like Agent Smith like turn into because it was always the same actor like playing Death. So like they would die, and then he would be there, and he'd talk to him for a little bit. It's like there was no rules established of like why don't they just, if he can like inhabit anybody that's dead, why don't they just like kill somebody and then he's there, I guess. I'm guessing like there's a lot of like inference that you can make with this, but none of it is clear. Like I assumed it's like, oh well, maybe he can only do that for a few minutes. Like if somebody dies, he can, I only have enough power to do this for so long. We need to like do the proper ritual or something to make it permanent, sort of thing.
Right. Yeah, because like that's sort of what he does with Rumpelstiltskin, because he's like, your body will last forever, so I want your body.
But they don't say why, is what I'm saying. Like, Rumpelstiltskin's body works. Is it because he's living? Like, he just needs a living, like, willing subject, maybe?
The way that he made it sound like Rumpelstiltskin is like some sort of immortal creature, and that's why he wants the... But it's like, if you're Death...
Aren't you immortal? Does it matter? Like, if the body dies, can't you just find another body or something?
Yeah, not meant to be thought about this hard.
No, definitely not. And then Rumpelstiltskin's whole, like, the deal, like, I didn't really understand, like, what his motivations or desires were, and then he's like, okay, yeah, I'll blow us up, I guess. And then somehow that means that, because he's like, okay, it's a deal, let's shake. And then he's like, as soon as we shake, Alice blows him up or whatever. And I guess by that logic, Death is dead, Death is gone, and Rumpelstiltskin takes over the underworld. Why? Wouldn't Death just go back down?
Well, is it because it's like, okay, the second they shake hands, like the body transference happens. So then Rumpelstiltskin is possessed by Death, but then she blows up like the physical version of him,
I guess.
So like if he's like trapped in the body, it technically like kills him because but again, it doesn't really make sense if Death can just hop from body to body. Why would this be any different? But I guess it's like he made a deal. So because he made a deal, he's like stuck in that.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
But it's like, that's a shitty deal then if you become mortal.
Yeah, right? He's
like, you can walk
your
out the
body
street
will
and
last
get hit
forever.
by a bus.
Exactly. He's like, oh, your body will last forever unless I die.
Unless it gets blown up.
That's how people work, yeah. I would live too unless you, shot me.
But then it's like Rumpelstiltskin's
somehow gets to take over the underworld, but Death is gone. Like, wouldn't Death just go back there too? I don't know.
Yeah. I thought Rumpelstiltskin like traded places with Alice, because
that's what I thought too. She's walking away and she smiles.
She like looks directly into the camera and smiles, and I'm like, oh, okay. Like, he kind of did a little gambit where, because he like whispers something in her ear and it's totally inaudible, but you see like his eyes light up, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is him using his powers of persuasion. But also it's like something that she would have wanted anyway, so why would he need to persuade her?
I don't know. I feel like there was like some back and forth of like they didn't want to kill Rumpelstiltskin. I'm like, is he that fucking useful? Like, are any of these people that useful? Like, you see fucking like some of them mowing down all these dudes with guns, like Bluebeard. But then he goes up against Goldilocks and she fucking beats him every time. And it's just, there's no real like, it's not really consistent with like how strong or how like good any of them are at fighting. Cause like, why are any of them special if they can just get killed by one other normal person. They're all just normal people up against death, but somehow they're like, they're the best option.
Well, we're the protagonists, so we can't die.
Pretty much. Yeah, I guess
there was like another scene with Goldilocks where it was like her versus two guys with like assault rifles. And they're just like standing facing each other in a hallway. And the two guys are just like unloading. And she's just standing there. And you don't even see or hear any bullets going by. And then she just goes bam, 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 and kills them both. And I'm like, cool, I guess she's immune to bullets. Or their guns were all blanks. Because it's like she just stood there. Like she would be riddled with bullets at that point. I was like, it's like they made like they wanted to make the cool heroic badass shot and like totally just threw everything else to the side. It made no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
I was like, come on, man. What are you doing?
Yeah, I forgot about that part. That's funny. All right. Did you know that this You might, because I checked in. I don't know if you remember. This was a you suggestion. This was one of your movies. It was.
Was it?
Yeah. As well as what I found out is like the one that this is like a spinoff / sequel to, Avengers Grimm. That's one that you also added.
God damn it. I almost started this off with us having beef, but apparently I brought it upon myself.
And in that one, well, that one may stem at least one of your issues with it, because as far as like showing the characters getting caught or whatever, ending up where they are, because in that one the main villain is Rumpelstiltskin, played by Casper Van Dien, and it's about him, like they reference him like breaking the magic mirror in this, but it's all like after the fact. And this one is about, I guess he does that or something, and it's about the annoying thing is that it's about like a team of, it's a very like almost comically like Girls Get It Done like looking movie with Snow White, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Rapunzel, and Little Red Riding Hood, which is hilarious because none of them are in Sinister Squad, but you have two other fantasy female characters. No crossover. You could have called Goldilocks Cinderella and it would have been the exact same thing. They wouldn't have to change anything about her character because they don't do anything to correlate her to Goldilocks. And even though you said that they started referencing the like, it's just right, that also works for Cinderella because of the slipper. So, literally they could have done that. And then make Alice Snow White. She almost had more of, if she had shorter hair, she had more of a Snow White vibe anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I guess the wolf is in that one too. So maybe there's, maybe you get to see at least a couple of them, like how they ended up where they were in Sinister Squad. And also, I don't know if you're looking at it like a page for it right now, but ridiculously, Lou Ferrigno is in it. I'm seeing that paint on him, just like Trinity War sets up to be. Or maybe Avengers Grimm Time Wars, which is the next movie after Sinister Squad, where I guess Rumpelstiltskin is the bad guy again, I guess.
I guess so. Is it the same actor?
No, it's a different actor in everyone. No, the first one is the only one that has like named actors with Casper Van Dien and Lou Ferrigno. The other ones are all like, people.
Baristas in LA.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. The third one does have the same Alice, so cool. And then the Hatter. So like the two like worst actors in this.
Oh, the Snow White is the same.
Oh yeah. Okay, so some of the ones from Avengers Grimm. I was saying from Sinister Squad.
Okay.
the only returning actors from Sinister Squad is Alice and the Hatter, who were the worst ones. In my opinion, the worst ones. But yeah, I think the rest of the girls are the ones from the first Avengers Grimm.
Okay. Ugh. So I must have put these in the cup because I think I knew that Trevor watched them.
Yeah.
And I was like, these look like they'd be good, like duds fodder. And
I think it was a good pick.
Yeah, it definitely fits the criteria. But just spoiler alert, I don't think it's like a Spudly dud when we get to ratings. So
sure. Yeah. Do you want to roll into ratings? Or is there
I'm good with that. I'm good with that. The only other note, I had to make myself laugh a little bit throughout this. When they rolled up Rumpelstiltskin and he had the Hannibal Lecter mask on. Yeah. I wrote down, it's like, I smell your cunt. Like multiple MIGs. And then, he said the thing at the end of the movie. They said it.
Yes, I was so fucking pumped. I was gonna forget to mention that. I was so fucking pumped that they said that.
I wondered if they were going to, and they did.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I'm just on the IMDb for like all these different movies now. And there's a movie called Rise of the Black Bat that is a clear Batman. There are so many of these. The Amazing Bulk.
That's different. That is not Asylum.
No, I know.
That is in the cup. That's been on my watch list for a while.
That's a Red Letter Media. Like I've definitely seen them cover it on like a best of the worst.
I did see they had one, Almighty Thor, that one's great because that is also like Marvel can't copyright that because that's just a Norse mythological figure. So they can just call him Thor. That's so cool.
There's also Captain Battle Legacy War Battle Soldier. These are so goddamn funny. I love all of these. Avenging Force. Avenging Force, the Scarab. Yeah, there's Almighty Thor. Plan B, which looks like the B movie ripoff, but also that's like Plan B is also like the over-the-counter like abortion drug. So whatever.
I was thinking that's also Brad Pitt's production company, which he should think about a little more too.
Oh, what is this? Super Mario Logan?
What?
TV series 2007 to 2021. Super Mario Logan. It revolves around puppet/plush versions of the Mario characters, other characters from other media, and even original characters, and it follows their bizarre life and adventures at home and school.
Okay.
416 episodes.
Holy shit.
And yeah, if you look at any of the production stills, it's just Mario plushies and a guy holding them in the car and like in his apartment.
Wow. Man, people are like having a field day with I mean, it's a little past the fresh meme circuit, but like people are having a field day with the like Steamboat Willie going into the public domain, but like Asylum's been doing it for years. They just find ways to work around it. Like what I wouldn't give to be like 50 years into the future when like even more stuff now is like in public domain and they can just do them straight up. Yeah. And they're literally making our Trinity War.
Yeah, the stuff that we parodied, like they're doing now. Also, is that the guy from Crank Yankers?
That's what I was thinking from the. Yeah. I don't think it. Well, I don't know. Maybe
it says Jeffy's Tantrum. It's Mario, and then it's what looks like Jeffy, who was like, I think the developmentally disabled
Yeah, so I think
puppet
it is.
from Crank Yankers, and he's holding an iPad.
Yeah.
I love cinema. There's a top-rated episode for season 8, episode 90, and the review just says schizophrenia case study. Okay, yeah, we can roll into scores.
Okay, they have a movie called Shark Side of the Moon.
We could go all day with just like all of this shit. Super Mario Logan has 6.48 million subscribers on YouTube.
Wow.
They uploaded something 3 hours ago.
Holy shit. Okay.
Okay.
All right, well, take it away. I think you're kind of already
yeah.
So
Yeah, damn. I wish I could go through the looking glass and tell myself not to put this in the cup. Yeah, this is a dud. There were it didn't have that sparkle. It didn't have enough like so bad it's good elements to really like go beyond that. It was just kind of a bad movie. Like you said, it's like, you know, comparing it 1-to-1 with like Suicide Squad. Better plot and pacing than that movie, which is wild to say, but again, like, you know, super low bar.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I wasn't really like laughing all that much. I laughed at the huffing and puffing caption. I thought that was that was a little treat for me, the closed caption viewer. Yeah, just overall kind of boring, kind of nonsensical. Like you said, those like one little lines that are just like, you know, important pieces of information that are just said very casually, and then you watch it and you're like, wait, what? What's going on? Why is this happening? Yeah, it's kind of like not as egregious as like 2025, but it definitely had that feel of like someone who got their hands on a professional camera. I was like, I can make a movie. You know, that might be a disservice. I think it's a little bit above that. There was like actual kind of cinematography in this one.
Yeah.
It just has like a similar look. Like there's a certain look that like movies made for YouTube have. Like certain you know, there's, I don't know if it's the color grading or just like the way that they do it, but there's like a certain look that these types of movies have, and this one had it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just not enough spuds to bring it up to a dud, or not enough good. I don't know what I'm talking about. No spud is dud. I'm
also dud, but I think I had a better time with it than you did, but not enough of the, you know, still not like spud quality. Like there wasn't enough like funny bad moments to make it a spud. It was just not as torturous as Suicide Squad, so it wasn't too awful. And I'm kind of an old head with Asylum, so I was kind of happy to dip back in because I've seen a handful of their stuff. Because I watched whatever the one I mentioned earlier was. I Am Omega. That was when I watched.
I feel like you told me about Transmorphers back in the day. I feel like that was one you watched.
Transmorphers back in the day. A lot of their stuff was like basically made for Sci-Fi Channel. So I watch a lot of like Sci-Fi Channel stuff growing up. They also made a TV show called Z Nation, which was like it was hopping on the success of The Walking Dead, but it wasn't a riff on that. Like it wasn't like copying it in the way that like these are. It was just another like zombie show with people. And honestly, like legitimately a better show than Walking Dead in my opinion. And I think it is generally like a well-received show. And maybe it's because they actually were like doing something, you know, more or less original. It wasn't a spoof of an existing property. Yeah, I think I watched the first like 3 seasons. I don't remember like where it ended up, but it was good. I like that one.
Okay.
And then God, I'm not sure if they did Mansquito, but that was an old an old Sci-Fi Channel movie that I watched too.
Mansquito is such a funny word.
But yeah, a dud for me as well. But you know, Asylum are they're like an institution, more or less. For better or for worse.
Yeah, I can't hate on it too much because I respect the hustle.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Just list off a couple more movie titles that kind of stuck out to me, like Meth Gator, Top Gunner, Danger Zone, Dracula, the original living vampire. There's Independence Day, but not with ENCE, Independence Day. And then I like the Doctor Will Kill You Now.
Oh, they have a 50 Shades of Grey parody called Bound.
Oh, okay.
Starring Daniel Baldwin. So they caught a Baldwin brother.
They have one called a Dead Seven that I watched. It's a riff on Magnificent Seven, but it's all the seven are boy band actors. Like you got Joey Fatone, Nick Cannon, I think AJ McClain, and Howie Duro. So, and then I think there's some guys from like O-Town and 98 Degrees too.
Oh, Deborah Wilson from Mad TV is in it.
Oh, okay. I don't remember. I just remember the guys.
The boy bands, yeah.
Yeah. But that's one I like too.
Oh, cool. They've got 2-headed Shark Attack, which is followed by 3-headed Shark Attack. and then I think they just skip right to 5-headed Shark Attack.
That's awesome.
Which is then followed by 6-headed Shark Attack.
That's fucking awesome.
Damn, yeah, these guys, Battle Star Wars, Fast and Fierce Death Race, Meteor Moon, which is Moonfall. Oh, Planet Dune.
Does it say that? Oh, because they also did Moon Crash, which I'm pretty sure is also Moonfall.
Yep, it is. Oh, they must really like that one.
I didn't even think of that. Dracula, the original living vampire, is a spoof on Morbius, which is so tight. That's so cool.
Yeah, the only thing we finished watching Gen V tonight. Have you watched that?
How was that? No, I haven't.
Overall, it's pretty good. I think I'm hesitant to say that I think the boys / that style, they need to dial it back a little bit.
Yeah.
Because every character is just like, I'm going to go live on Instagram. That's not trending on social, where it's like, I get it. I get that like the superheroes are like a marketing device and like all that they care about are their stats and their position online. But it's just like every other character is just like a totally vapid, like not a real person. Just like everything that they do is totally motivated by likes and subscribers. But sometimes it like doesn't come across naturally. It kind of sticks out to me a little bit, and I'm like, ugh.
Still gotta feel like real people or whatever.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
The story overall was okay. Sometimes the characters' motivations are like super, like they just kind of flip on a dime. and it just sometimes it wasn't like super believable. I'm like, everything I've learned about your character so far, like I feel like you wouldn't do that. Like they'll just adopt like a completely different set of morals instantly, and it's just like, like it doesn't feel earned. Like it doesn't feel like the character goes through enough development to be like, I believe in this now.
Yeah.
But there were some fun tie-ins with The Boys. It's only 8 episodes, so I mean,
is it taking place like at the same time as the show, or like before?
There are some references. There are references to like Stormfront like being killed.
Okay. Okay.
I'm pretty sure it happens sort of at the same time.
As like season
roughly
3-ish.
Yeah.
Sounds like,
yeah. Okay. Every once in a while, and like, yeah, there are a couple like Ashley from The Boys is in it, like the redheaded lady that is like the head of Vought after.
Yeah, I think I knew that. Yeah. Yeah.
And then what's her face, the head exploder.
Oh yeah, Newman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Newman's in it as well because she's like running for president or whatever.
Yeah.
So like there's like a handful of like characters from The Boys that, you know, kind of show up or are referenced. Like there's like some TV material of The Deep or like A-Train because it's like they're at a college. So there's like, it's like, I got my start at Godolphin U, and you can too. And they got like the actors from The Boys to like do that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
it's like they're spiritually in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You should check out the animated one that they did, the Diabolical. I think I remember that one being pretty good. And that one's like, I mean, maybe they'll make another one, but it's just like one season, and it's, well, I mean, it's Justin Roiland, but he did it's like different like creators every episode, but he did one that's pretty great and feels very like Rick and Morty-esque, I guess, but it's like the premise of his episode is it's a bunch of like teenagers who are like have superpowers, but they were basically like their parents enlisted them to be experimented on with like Compound V. And like most all of them are like horribly deformed and like can't live like normal lives. Like one of them is, I think, like the human tongue, where they're just like their entire body mass is like a tongue. And then there's like a ghost girl who's like, she's alive, but she is like non-corporeal, so she can't like touch or interact with things, and so she feels like, you know, distant and stuff like that. So the short is them all like or the episode, I keep calling them like it's the episode. I keep calling them like short films. I mean, they kind of are, because they're all like separate stories or whatever. But it's basically them like tracking down all of their parents and like brutally murdering them all.
That's right. I remember you telling me that.
Okay. Yeah.
I think you talked about it when we did our Boys Will Be the Boys episodes.
Okay, yeah.
I think
that would make sense.
I remember
yeah.
that sounds familiar now.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's
Also,
good.
like,
I'm pretty sure I remember the whole thing being pretty good.
Yeah, Gen V ended on a pretty huge cliffhanger too, and it got picked up for a second season. So, because for a second I thought it was like its own like little isolated thing, but the way that it ended, I was like, no way it ends like that. So,
what, like does it like something that would affect like the main show?
I don't know how much they're gonna do. Like how closely they're gonna like tie the two things together.
Okay.
Because I feel like, I don't know, that might be a bit of a sell to like, in order to fully understand The Boys, you have to watch this other TV show.
Well, yeah, you haven't been following Star Wars or Marvel since like
true.
Disney Plus launched. No, I mean, I'm not like, I hope that's not what they do, because I think that's what kind of made a lot of people lose interest in those, myself included, like, is because, like, yeah, now you want to watch the new Marvel movie and you have to watch, like, that was like one of the things with the Marvels, the movie that came out like last year with like Captain Marvel, and it was like the women team, but like you literally you had to watch like the first Captain Marvel, and then like 2 shows, and maybe something else, I don't know, but no, it was like 3 shows I think, because it was like WandaVision, Miss Marvel, and Secret Invasion all like play into it. It's like it's fucking ridiculous.
Ugh.
So I hope they don't. I would like personally, regardless of like how good or whatever Gen V is, I would rather they just keep the main show its own thing.
Yeah.
Just because I got bad taste in my mouth from those other franchises, I guess, trying to do that.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Like, I guess a closer analogy would be The Mandalorian, because between seasons 2 and 3, they did the Book of Boba Fett, which is different character, but then like the second to last episode of that is The Mandalorian. It's just he's there, and it basically fills the entire gap and like cliffhanger from season 2. So like if you started season 3 and you didn't watch the Book of Boba Fett, like a total shift from how the previous season
Wild.
ended. Yeah.
Huh.
It's nonsensical the way that they try to run that shit over there. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I guess at least with Gen V, it's like it's based on like the teen superheroes,
the Godalkin University or whatever.
Yeah, they're at least like referenced in the boys, like in the comic. Like
Sure.
I'm pretty sure what's his name? Golden Boy is like a character in the boys.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, maybe. It's been a while since I read it, and there's a lot of just random characters in the comics who are in like an issue or so.
Right, because one of the girls, her superpower, she's like Pusher. But I'm pretty sure I've heard a character name, because like basically she's like she can touch you and basically tell you what to do, and like because like, she's a pusher. It's like there'll be like scenes where she's just like she'll grab him and just like eat shit, and he'll be like, oh okay, and then he'll go and like start eating shit or something like that, like very literal.
Yeah, continuing our dud month. So yet again. This running this gauntlet. It's a weird time to do it. I kind of want to go back, just like to whatever episodes we did the last times when we were doing Fortnite, just to see if we're also kind of like out of it a little bit or whatever, kind of like
a little spent.
Yeah. And now this is just making it worse, having to do.
All duds.
Dud after dud, yeah. But the next one for next week is from 2003, directed by Martin Brest, I think. Gigli.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, this is kind of a classic bad movie.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
This is, stacked cast, too.
Yeah, it is.
Hell yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea what side of the line it'll fall on. I hope Spud. I feel like it's been a while since we've had a Spud. I think I looked back in my notes, and the last one I remember giving a Spud was which I guess really isn't too long ago. It was Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Oh, okay.
Christmas one. We've done a handful of like maybe it feels like we've done more duds since then, because we just have happened to pull like stuff like Valentine's Day, which isn't like a good movie.
Yeah.
You know, like we've had a couple movies like that. Or Island of Dr. Moreau. That also felt very kind of dud adjacent too.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, anyways, so watch Gigli before next week's episode if you don't want to be spoiled for it. These episodes come out every Wednesday at 7 p.m. EST on Spotify, or on YouTube and Twitch in video form, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more in audio form. We also have social pages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And with all that said, I'm your dollar store Jared Leto Joker, which is still better than Jared Leto's Joker.
I'd buy that for $1.
And with me as always.
Oh, you didn't say your name.
I'm the Joker, baby.
Yeah. And as always, just like this, just like me, just like me. Because she does that to the one guy, the one.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And I am Nick.
And what are we? Some kind of Sinister Squad?